How's everyone doing? Happy New Year. I hope you all enjoyed the time off over Christmas and New Year. Before Christmas, I started this video blog. If you missed any of the episodes, I think there was 3 in total that I did. You can check them out at the YouTube channel. Have a look at those. The feedback from those videos was really good. So I thought this year I want to build on that and I want to cover more topics and do more videos of things that basically you want to hear about. Okay, so the first episode of 2018, Strength Chat episode 4, I'm going to chat about, does time off from training result in muscle and strength loss? The short answer is no, it doesn't. However, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the ins and outs of that. Okay. So the first point is, it's a well-known fact that if you take part in weight training, some form of weight training, it's going to produce muscle and strength gains. Okay. Now, think of that like building a bigger engine. Okay. If you've got a bigger engine, you need more fuel. Okay. So if you've got more strength, you're going to have to eat more to fuel that extra muscle. Okay. So it makes sense that if you're when you're not training, you've still got to eat the same amount to maintain that amount of muscle. Okay, so you've got to make sure that your food intake is consistent and sufficient enough to maintain your newly created muscle. Okay, if you've got time off from training, if you have time off from training and you're not eating enough to maintain your muscle, then your body will think, oh well, actually I'm not doing enough, I don't need to have this amount of muscle on my body, and then that's where your body goes into survival mode, and then you'll start putting fat onto your body. Okay, so if you've made that extra muscle, you need to keep it. Okay. The second point is that having time off from training, people either go 2 ways about it. Okay. So the first one is you do nothing at all. You just stop training, stop going to the gym, and don't do anything. Okay. And the second one is having a deload week after having a couple of weeks of training. So that means that the weights might be a little bit lower. You're not training as hard as what you previously are, and just taking a little bit of a step back from there. Okay. Research has shown that any longer than 2 or 3 weeks from doing nothing, okay, can start to have an effect on producing losses in your strength and muscle. Okay, so the first one I said about not doing anything in training, 2 to 3 weeks of doing nothing, that's when you're going to start losing all the gains, all the strength, all the muscle that you had before. Okay, so ideally what you want to be doing is having deload weeks. Okay, so this means that you're not starting from scratch when you go into your next training cycle. If you do nothing, you've lost all that muscle, you've lost all that strength that you've gained, so when you go into a new training program, you've got to start all over again. Okay, if you add in a deload week, then that means that your progression is always increasing. So what it should look like is, if this is your starting point, then you'll train for a couple of weeks and get to a point where you peak, then you'll have a deload week. Okay, so that's where you drop the weight a little bit, and so your peak will go down a little bit, and then you get a little bit of a rest, start refreshed, and then you can start again and then build up, have a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a deload week, drop it down, and then you'll go back up again. Okay, so you never go directly up, do nothing, and then you go all the way back down to the bottom. Okay, so yes, you will it'll take time to sort of pick the weights back up again, but it's not a massive drop as if you were doing nothing. Okay, so the points to take from that is that if you are reducing your training, you still need to eat the amount of food sufficient enough to maintain your muscle, maintain your strength. If you do nothing for longer than 2 to 3 weeks, then you're probably going to start seeing bigger increases, bigger losses in your strength and muscle. Ideally, you want to be having a deload week so that you can come back into the next training cycle a little bit more refreshed. Okay. So maybe a little bit of a myth busting video for you there. If you like the video, like the post, comment, share. It's always appreciated. If you've got any questions about what I've covered in this video, then either message on my Facebook page, comment on the post, and I'll get back to you as soon as you can. Okay, so I'll be back next week to cover another topic. Thanks for listening. See you later.